Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Fixed Op Roundtable's After Dark show, and happy Summerpalooza. Today, we are here with a couple very familiar faces. We have John Fairchild and Shon Kingrey, so welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Yep.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Glad to be here.
The newlyweds are here. Shon Kingrey and John Fairchild, welcome. Good evening. Also, Katrina, looks like we are live tonight, right? So
yeah, we're live. We can see the comments rolling in. Trevor Shannon, Jamie Alexander,
Roger Conan. So Ray Hernandez, who's in the chat. Ray, I gotta ask you real quick. You're on that panel with Uber for Business, right? So I'm playing the panel back, and like 2 minutes into your recording, Uber noticed it. Okay, there was a loud explosion. Okay, that happened. Like I think I remember at 2:12, and Colton pointed it out to me, and we got your individual video. We started playing it, and then we noticed like when that happened, like your eyes jarred and moved around. So it had to be that something had happened where you were. We cleaned it all up, so it's not there anymore. But tell us in the chat what happened, Ray. We're curious what that was. Michael Weldon, good evening, and Trevor Shannon and Tony Owens, and great to see you all. Summerpalooza, Shon Kingrey. I think I'm gonna miss this theme when it's all over.
Yeah, I love the backgrounds, love the theme. It was a good summer. I mean, guys, it's September 9th. It's like summer's over. Like it's done. It's done. School's back to the session. Anyway, yeah.
Who's this guy, John Rowland?
Who's that guy? Hey, Johnny.
He knows you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, big event coming up. I am going to miss this one after it's gone. This has a great theme. Katrina, give us the down low on Summerpalooza. When is it happening again? What are the times?
Of course. So Summerpalooza is our next Fixed Ops Roundtable theme. This event will be happening September 16th through the 19th. So we are just a couple weeks out. It is all virtual, all online, and you can get your complimentary tickets at fixedopsroundtable.com.
Yep. And there they are, the anchors of the roundtable. John Fairchild, our anchor as well. And we just announced tonight that the full agenda is online. So there you see Doug Eero, Mike Maroney, Dale Pollock, and the gang, Sarah and Kai, and that whole agenda for the 4 days is online. So if you don't have your tickets, you can check out the times, what times panels are on. Make sure you've got your schedule set to go, and we'll be notifying everybody. And I see the lovely Kathy Kingrey, Shon, is in the chat. Very nice.
Yes, she is here. We just got back from Washington, D.C. late last night. We had a good weekend trip getaway, so it was good.
All right, very good. All right, well, ladies, you got these industry experts here tonight. And by the way, how's things going at Northwood? I'm assuming you're back at school.
Yeah, we've been back at school for a couple weeks now, and Vanessa and I really have just been working on a lot of auto show things since we are about a little bit less than a month away from our 100% student-run auto show up in Northwood. So we've been cramming down and winding up on that.
Shon, you're coming up to that, I think, with the missus, right?
We are, yeah. Kath and I fly in. I think we changed that to Wednesday night. We'll be there late Wednesday night. We'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and fly home on Saturday.
Exciting.
So, Katrina, they're coming for the big extra bonus day on Thursday.
We are.
Looking forward to it.
All right, we got a lot of people coming up for that. So a lot of things happening in October, and I don't even know where to begin. Fairchild, that Fixed Ops magazine panel was just one of them, but there were so many panels on this show, John, talking about what's going on in the business right now.
Yeah, no, I think that what that panel was really focusing on is AI and how to use AI as a tool, just like any other tool, and implement it into various processes within the retail environment. And very good panel indeed, Ted. I appreciate you having me on that.
and Ron Overs, okay, for putting that together, and Sarah for helping to moderate that. And Shon, there was so much on this event. AI was just the beginning, right?
There was, and I got to tell everybody, some of the panels that you do, and it's amazing how many people think that they're live and they're not that they're actually pre-recorded. Ron doesn't tell you the questions before you go on. Some of the people do and some don't. And Ron just drops it on you, and you aren't expecting it. And for people like me, quite frankly, we're in a group, as I've said, that was probably a little bit behind the times. We aren't in the AI field. We aren't, and we're working on that. But those were questions that, where Tully's on this extreme of it and we're on this extreme of it. And those are all the different things we got to talk about. So yeah, that was a good panel. There was a lot of good panels. Joe Lockridge's panel, obviously, Reynolds and Reynolds panel. I mean, there was a ton of them.
I didn't want to give away the store, but Ron asked what we're working on with AI. And I knew there were some things coming with you dancing and Tully dancing and others as well. But we didn't want to tip our hand yet for that panel. But all in all, John, it turned out pretty well.
It did. I caught some feedback today. We'll just say that from that, as I got released this weekend. So I definitely got some feedback from my dancing move, especially from Mr. Fairchild. By the way,
you got some good moves, Shon.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
Ladies, all yours.
So, Ted, you kind of started off asking what are the current industry trends, and I think that's kind of a good topic to dive into for this episode of the After Dark Show. So, I'll start off by asking Shon, what are current industry trends that you are seeing besides AI, which we've already touched on a little bit? You can dive deeper into that as well if you'd like.
Yeah, of course. I think we talk about the industry as a whole right now. Whether you want to blame it on the election, you want to blame it on interest rates, you want to blame it on back to school, whatever the case is, it's soft right now. When you go to the stores, it's soft. It's down, right, John? You're right. It is down, and you can feel that. If you've got a pulse, if you feel the pulse of the drive, you can feel that. And I think John and I communicate. For those that don't know, like Ted and I do, pretty much on a daily basis. And it's key, and I don't want to steal into John's thunder here, but I think now more than ever, because this is kind of like January and February in Madison, Wisconsin, where it's a little slow. We're dealing with that right now. And again, there's so many unknowns out there, whether, again, like I said, the election, back to school, interest rates, you can blame it on whatever you want. But I think now more than ever is key that you have the fundamentals, and as John and I have loved to say, the non-negotiables in place. That so when it is a little slower, you're not missing a beat on every car that comes in. John, go ahead, buddy.
No, I feel like what you're saying resonates so well is in what's happening right now is a lot of markets I'm seeing slower repair order counts. So not as many customers hitting the drive. And really as individuals, as human beings, service advisors, service managers, we've kind of habituated ourselves to what we got to do, and oftentimes taking shortcuts to make things happen in a process when we've got so many customers coming at us, we can't even take a break. And now that the reverse is often true, is that what do we do to re-habituate ourselves? And the sad truth about it is as service managers, I got to be able to take a level assessment of the people in my drive. Some people cannot be re-habituated. Hey, Ed Roberts, what's going on? Good evening.
Ed.
But we got to do our
Ed Roberts comes in, the show stops. We'll say hello. Okay, right now.
That's right. Good evening, Ed Roberts. Anyway, we got to take a look and see, what are those steps that if we had to reverse the clock and go back into a time when we could put those elements in where we might not to predict a better outcome. What are those steps? They're the basic steps you and I are all both thinking about. They're a walk around. They're presenting menu at write up. They're making sure we got decline codes. They're, making sure we have a proactive status to our customer. All of those things are going to develop a better repair order. And Shon, as well as I do, I can often make way more money off less clients.
Yes.
Than I can flushing them through there. But
Correct.
If I've habituated my staff to really taking shortcuts on each customer, and now there's less customers, then I'm just going to really have less production from that. So what the challenge is now, as your coaches, as your service managers, is to take a step backward and say, hey, what are those steps we're missing? And a lot of times, Shon, it's really awkward for those people to take that step and really readjust what they're doing. And as managers, we got to model that behavior. We got to get out there in the service drive that when during peak hours and really show them what we want them to do. Is it awkward? Yes. It's just like role play, Shon. That's the other thing is if we've been blowing and going with all these repair orders going on, and we don't have time to turn around, and we've taken shortcuts and everything, do we really know what our service advisors are presenting and how they're presenting to our customers? And if you're not role playing with your staff, if you're not getting them to pitch to you as if you are the customer, how do you know? How do you really know, Shon?
Or if you're managing from your office and not from the service drive. John, go ahead, John. Go ahead, buddy.
No, I was going to say, one of my favorite sayings is, are you a boss? Which one of my old bosses said was, butt out of seat.
Yes.
Boss.
Butt out of seat. So John brought up a good point. I'm going to bring up Tully. 2 weeks ago, we sat down twice a year. We get all of our stores together. One day is variable, one day is fixed. And we do an in-house. We bring an NCM moderator in, and we have a take everything on the table. It's all out there. Your numbers are what they are, and we call it out the way it is. Okay. And it's funny. I was using Tully as an example where John and I have one store in our group that we got writers writing 17 to 23 ROs a day. Okay. They are grinding these writers. Okay. And I bring up Tully's store. I'm going to paraphrase for Tully that Tully's guys write 7 to 9 ROs a day. Yes, I understand their high line. It's a little bit different, but is it different? Tully's guys have more time to sell. They're not running with fire coming out of their ears 24/7. Or to John's analogy, for those that haven't been to his class, they're not drinking out of a fire hydrant. And that's what we're making them do when they're writing 19 ROs a day.
Yeah, that's right.
Amen. The other thing that really contributes to that, Shon, is if you've got dedicated express staff that is overwhelmed.
Correct.
Okay. In a lot of environments, I'll see a express staff that is underrepresented. And so I might be, thank you, Linda, 12 hours max. If my express people are doing 20, and let's face it, they're not spaced out evenly throughout the day, y'all. They come in all at one time.
When they want to.
And they want, exactly. So if my express riders is juggling 4, 5, 6, 7 repair orders at the same time, are they really giving my customer the attention that they need?
They can't. It's not physically possible. Again, I'm the fun guy who likes to fill in when a rider's off and have a couple hours of good time on the service drive. John and I've done it a lot. We've done it together. My bet always is, if you outsell me today, I'll give you my next paycheck. 30 years, I haven't lost that bet yet, by the way. But how do you expect them to do it when literally, you can't. It's not physically possible.
No, you can't. Shon, you know what? Linda Hansen has got a point here. She's saying that's why advisors burn out. Hey, listen, I've been an advisor. I've been in a state of burnout so bad that I got burned out on being burned out.
Yes.
So, John, how many times, and Shon, have you heard, for example, Tony Owens is in the chat tonight, say that he's covering for an advisor because something happened, somebody's out, and he's out for a couple days or a week. And the next thing you know, he's not handling 10 or 12 or 15, but he's handling, the number, 20, 25 or more, right? And that's extreme burnout day after day. That's going to wipe the advisor out.
And part of that, you got to ask yourself, is that partially our fault for pushing growth? I share our numbers. Obviously, John's a good partner with our team now. John knows our numbers, and we have huge growth, obviously, year over year. But are we pushing that so hard that we're forcing it? And that's something you got to look in the mirror. I can tell you, out of our 8 stores, and as things have, as John said, went down a little bit and it got a little softer, you can tell the stores that are drinking the Kool-Aid and the stores that aren't.
Yeah, well, here's the thing:
in your CDK, Vanessa did a plan for CDK this year. I'm just curious, was that something that came up along the way? Advisors and how many customers a day that they work in the drive?
For
Oh no,
oh, sorry, you go.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are we for the win-loss program?
Well, here's the thing that I was thinking about CDK is that, CDK happened and nobody had a plan for what to do when it went down. Okay.
Yeah.
And really reminiscent of early days of computers. And 2 weeks after we went on computer to begin with, it went down and nobody knew what to do. Although we'd been doing that for years, 2 weeks earlier. And what I will say about that is that it further exacerbated any of those stores on what their habits were, because now their habits were all thrown by the wayside and they had to make do with it. They had to do to get the job done. So they completely threw their habits out the door.
Vanessa, you were going to say something. We'll go back to that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Vanessa.
Yeah, no, you're okay. Ted, I think you asked about service advisors and the win-loss program. For me, it was more so just kind of doing the research on win-loss programs and kind of translating that to the industry, because I couldn't find specific research, automotive specific research, but just kind of translating that and working it that way.
The reason I asked Vanessa that question, because we had talked about that once before. I don't know that you're going to find research, because I think it's also changed. I think when I got in the business, which I understand was a long time ago, I don't know that 15 was too much, because the cars were so much more basic back then. Now, whether you're on GM or whether you're on Chrysler or you're Ford or your imports like Tully, you're potting every car. You're touching every car. You're talking to the car. You're spending so much more time with the client than you were before. That number's changed so drastically that, and I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying it, but the Grant Cardone training that was 20 years ago isn't relevant today, because the book had to change, because you can't write what we were then. I started as a writer back in 1994, a long time ago. And guys, I could write.
Well, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Appreciate
really.
it. Yeah, but anyway, girls probably weren't even born yet, by the way. But anyway, that all being said, but guys, you could write 15 or 20 arrows a day, and you didn't think twice about it. You could write 30 because that's how you made your income.
But here's your point. I think what your point, Sean, is that that with less tickets you can provide better quality.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And exactly the opposite is true. If I've got too many tickets, there's no way I can physically and in the long term mentally and avoid burnout provide the quality that I need to be able to advise my customers properly where they're going to buy my recommended services.
And Trevor's right. We didn't have the ability years ago to fact check or look things up on our phone the way we do today, or have all the choices we have on our phone today. Things that we can go like Repair Pal, do competitive analysis and
Correct.
Look things up and, look it up by zip code, oil change near me. Right. So
as when you when you travel, you get in a rental car now. The cars, you drive a Tesla, you drive a Mach-E with Ford, whatever the case is. Guys, who knows everything about all the cars anymore? The customers are smarter than we are. They know their own car.
Absolutely.
Linda has a good
doubt
point.
about it.
So I said I want to go back to that real quick. I know we're running out of time if I ramble too long. We did a panel and it was about the outage. It is what it is. It was a good panel. I think it's at noon on day one, if I read it right. Ted, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
yes, it's Monday the 16th. It is at 12 noon. Yes.
Yeah, it was a great panel. And I got to tell you, where Tully was on the other extreme, where Tully was like, guys, by day 2 or 3, we were up and running at 100%. We weren't. And I'm being very honest about that. I think we were all listening to false information about, when we were going to come back up, if we were going to come back up, who's coming back up and when. And
wishful thinking. But we all got kind of got caught with our pants down a little bit. And I can tell you it will never happen again. And when you watch the panel, hopefully you do, you'll see that I admit there were things that we could have done different. There's things I could have done different as a leadership team preparing. Because again, when you wake up in the morning and you don't have computers or you don't have power, usually that's a day or maybe 2 days, whatever the case is. Guys, this was a long period. There's the whole panel in a nutshell.
There's the panel right there. Yep. The latest on cyber attack activities in retail automotive, Monday the 16th at 12 noon Eastern. Yeah.
And the advantage to it is you have Nikhil on there, who, by the way, is the IT guy, obviously, for Reynolds and Reynolds. He's going to tell you what happened, why it happened, and then Brad's going to tell you now what we've all learned from it, how to hopefully keep it from happening again. But again, to what John said earlier, there are definite processes in place now that, if Lord knows if it ever happens again or when it happens again, we'll be better prepared.
Sean, I thought this was, in the 25 Fixed Ops roundtables we've done, one of the best panels. I think it came from retail. It came from the cyber side of it. And
The
it
DMS,
was
absolutely.
And it was a lot of questions that you and Tully were asking, like the questions they asked Katrina was like, how did this happen? Okay. Do we think they broke in? Okay. How did they get now a hold of how did all this happen? Could something have been done early to stop it? All those questions came out during this panel. And I thought it was brilliant that you were asking for the retail community.
Right, and we asked what we could do better to prevent again. And we asked, can we get a checklist so that if it does happen, what we could do better? Because again, if there's one thing we all learned, that's it. We learned that we didn't handle it right, and we lost a lot of business. And for those that don't,
to your point, Sean, is a lot of dealers I work with are on various DMSs, right? Where they're and the same exists with Kayser, is that we've got multiple DMSs, and regardless of the DMS, do you have a plan, a strategy, a protocol for what to do when your DMS goes down, when the internet goes down, when the phone system goes down, when the power goes out? Is a lot of these things are undefined in most dealership environments, right. And it's a very, very huge wake up call.
It was.
Yeah. This was a big wake up call for the industry. And we learned it was not so much the first couple hours, okay, but really when it went on to the second day and the third day, knowing in the uncertainty of how long this thing was going to go.
Yeah, everybody expected the first couple hours for it to go away. And then the first half a day for it to go away. And then the first day for it to go away. And the first 2 days for it to go away. And everybody put off, what do we do to actually overcome this until it comes back? And it bit a lot of people very hard.
You will learn a lot about cyber in cyber attacks and what they do and how they affected retail automotive and who did this and exactly how they got in and how they took over. It's even kind of scary. Like Sean, look at like the gray black waters behind us there, right?
I know. I was just thinking that. I was like, it's ominous. It's ironic.
But it was a good panel, and again, it was an uncoached panel, kind of sparred on its own. It kind of went down its own. But it's funny, you got Tully and I, and it could be Ed, it could be any one of us. It could be Miggs or Tony Owens or whoever. Guys, we all had the same question, as Ted said. How did it happen, and how do we prevent it, and what could we do better? And it's amazing how when he got into the conversation, how one phishing email started everything. And we all get tired of it. We all get tired of you have a FedEx delivery or UPS delivery. We all get every morning, guys. That's what started it, and it got into one user, and it ran, and they do a great job walking through it all.
And it ran lateral. I learned how that works, okay?
Yes.
And what that means and how long it takes to install the malware and then what the next steps are and the next steps and then how they eliminate the backups, okay? And that's really what helped do them in. So.
And then once it got to an executive level, at whatever level it was, they were done. That was it.
Yeah. So again, they don't speak from knowing it exactly, but typically this is about how it happens, and it seems to have followed that pattern. And fascinating. So we're going to learn all about that. We'll learn about that at the Fixed Ops Roundtable 4-day event, and then we're going to Reynolds and Reynolds in October on the 9th. It's a Wednesday, and Reynolds in Dayton, Ohio, at their world headquarters, has a brand new cybersecurity headquarters, and we're going to be there. We're going to be asking questions. We're going to be with Reynolds dealers asking questions. Nikhil Kalani will be there. Brad will be there, and I think that's going to be fascinating to see how they're handling it. And that'll be our pop-up event. A big part of it, we focus on cyber. So interesting.
I think the one last takeaway from all that, Ted, is as they said from the Proton side of it, guys, this is their jobs. This is their livelihood. these people that did this cyber hacker, they do it all everywhere else, wherever they do it. And this is how they make their living. And they're making millions and millions of dollars of reinvesting it by doing cyber attacks. And this was the outcome.
$100 million a month plus.
Yes.
Yeah. Out of Russia. So
to do nothing and destroy our lives, quite frankly. So anyway, so they're looking for targets, and automotive has been up until now a vulnerable target, right? A soft target. So anyway, a lot going on, a lot coming up, a lot happening in our world, everybody. So coming up at the next roundtable, you saw some of the speakers we're going to have. Mike Maroney was here this morning, and from Maroney Automotive Group. And he formerly was the CEO for 20 plus years at the biggest automaker or biggest auto retailer in the world, AutoNation, and helped start that company. And we talked today about Shon. We talked about AI on the phones in dealership, some of the new technology that's out, that's coming. I thought it was fascinating. He's got a lot of parallel things to the industry he knows about, and he's going to share that with the audience. So I thought that's part of a great lineup that we have coming up at the show, and I'm looking forward to that. Dale Pollack did a wonderful job on his interview as well. Sarah had a great interview. Listen to this, with Andrew Young, who is the chairman of the Hyundai National Dealer Council, and he talked about the new program with Amazon, okay, and what they're doing to protect the franchise system on that, okay, with Amazon. And, my follow-up to Sarah was, not only the car sales, but what about the parts, Shon? Right.
Ask them about the parts. So where do you see that interview? And that's coming up on Monday morning as well. I think it's the second interview of the day. So
beautiful.
Fascinating things. Yeah. And that really has not been discussed in the news. It's only been about the car sale, not about the rest of the, the dealership. So a lot of good news coming out of that.
And let's be honest, Amazon's got distribution figured out very well. They've got it figured out.
Yeah, they're the big giant in the room. So, so we look forward to all of that, and then of course Dynatron, John, has so many panels coming up. Trevor is on a panel. Okay, we're going to enjoy that. Maureen is moderating a panel. Shon, you were on the panel, I believe, up at Northwood with Dynatron. So that's going to be on the show as well. So, Dynatron left and right on this show. So a lot of that due to Trevor Shannon, who's on the screen tonight with us and coming to the After Dark show, making all that happen.
Beautiful.
And then we have a special interview with Katrina Ness and Sandy, the dealer at Pohanka Automotive Group. That's coming off to lead up one of the mornings, and that's going to be the first segment up, and you're going to see that during the show as well. Katrina, that was an exciting segment to see, you and her interact with each other.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great to kind of reminisce on the summer and also just hear, and share what Sandy's values are about the industry and, how she's progressed in her journey and climbed up the ladder. It was a great panel, and I'm excited to share with everyone.
And two of the best speakers we have on the roundtable coming up, John Fairchild will be here from Fairchild Automotive Solutions, and Shon Kingrey from Kayser Automotive Group will be here as well. So we do not want to miss that. On Wednesday night show, we have a special guest who will be joined by Tully Williams this Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be Kobe Collins. She is with a company called GoTrego that does the employment assessments at the Sewell automotive dealerships and has for 30-some years. And Kobe's going to be with us talking to Tully. They'll be talking about the assessments, and they'll be sharing some of that with Katrina and Vanessa because we plan to take that forward up to Northwood in a couple weeks and do that assessment and get some of the results to share at the pop-up event at the International Auto Show. So,
did you say LG was going to take that assessment when we were there?
I believe LG is going to help us with that. I don't know if he's going to actually take it, though.
We'll talk him into it. We'll get him to do it. We'll get him to do it.
Yeah, we will.
We will.
Hey, Kingrey, you're going to be there. You're going to take. I'll take it if you take it.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Right.
Listen, for those that have never done it, and I know girls, if you've ever done it, it's eerie weird how accurate those things are. When you get done with them, it's weird. I mean, it'll put you in your place real quick.
All right.
Oh gosh.
Everybody, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank
John
you.
Fairchild, Shon Kingrey, the ladies as well. Thank you so much. And,
All right.
Wednesday night, and we will see you all very soon.
Wonderful.